Okay, guys, Red Pill Phil. Now, this is an honour and a privilege for so many reasons to be in the company of this guy and to actually be interviewing you, mate. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you for yours.
Oh, mate, it's an absolute pleasure. I could either be doing this or decorating today, so I know which one I would prefer to be doing.
You got out the decorating today.
I've got out the decorating.
It's too hot for it, mate. It's too hot.
It certainly is. It certainly is, mate. Well, what can I say in terms of the first interview that you've done with Eddie?
Yeah.
Now, to me, that was the interview of interviews because of all your previous stuff that you'd done.
Yeah.
It's shown your demeanour in a certain way, which in a sense, although I can understand the emotion behind it,
yeah,
it could be then used against you at the same time.
Yeah, and it was.
Yeah. It muddies the waters, and there's people outside of it all that look at you, and whether they've made their mind up or not, just on your sheer demeanour, they tend to sway another way.
Yeah.
So when you done that interview with Eddie, it was slow, calm, relaxed, and a lot of information was put out there.
Yeah.
Which then got people thinking all of a sudden, rather than just assuming what you're about and making up their own mind.
Yeah.
You know, going back to videos where you've been outside Downing Street. And also, like I say, because I can understand the emotion behind it and what led to that.
Yeah.
So, thank you, firstly, to Eddie for filling in.
Thanks,
and doing
Eddie.
that first interview.
Eddie's in the background.
Because I could not make it, and Eddie decided to fill in. It was his first interview, so kudos to that man over there.
Yeah, he done well. Like, he kept saying, like, I don't know, I kept saying, but he was taking in the information. You know, big you up, Eddie, man. You done well in that interview, man. Serious, 100%. You done well.
Yeah.
You know, it's like he's been doing it all his life.
Yeah, he could certainly go on and do bigger and better things just off the strength of that, the confidence he'll gain from that. And I actually said to somebody else that with my progression doing this, I'm not an interview expert by any means. I've started off very small. I just like talking to people. I can kind of listen to people. Don't always get it, but I do try my best.
Yeah.
But it started off small, just walking around marches. Then it transferred then to actually talking to people, and I got more confident as it went on. And then it led up to the John Wedger interview, which was, for me, quite a very serious interview, but with a credited kind of individual, which makes me as an individual nervous, because I'm not a journalist, I'm a bloody painter and decorator.
So I think you said you've only been doing it like 8 months or something, haven't you?
Just about a year now since the channel has actually been open.
Yeah.
So it has been a big shift. A lot has happened. There's been a lot of interviews, a lot of running about. So for Eddie to jump in right in the deep end,
yeah, he was thrown in the deep end with that interview,
with such a very serious topic that there's tentacles and sophistication written all over it.
Yeah.
My God, he done a brilliant,
he done well,
brilliant job. And I must admit, all this equipment that you've got around as well enhanced it, the production value and everything. First class to you, my friend. Which again plays into the fact that, is this guy a nutter? Because technically he knows what he's doing. Intelligence-wise, he can tie us all in knots in terms of facts. You can go from right to the start to right to the end and then zigzag in between it all.
Yeah.
That is not the demeanour of someone who is a wrong one that they're trying to portray you as.
Yeah.
The system is certainly working against you. That's what I do
they
believe.
are. They are.
In different facets as well, not just directed at one place. I mean, when we go through this interview, people will see that it comes from different levels. There's people in the background in all tentacles working on this.
And I've had to have my, like, I've had to be on the ball because sorry, that's my dogs. If anyone hears any noises in the background, I've just had puppies. I've had to be on the ball because this ain't about, for me, it's not about swaying public opinion. This is my life. This is not about selling a record now or promoting an album.
Dogs.
Isla. She's dreaming. She's having a dream. She's working hard. She's got 8 puppies out there to feed.
She's probably thinking of Ian Puddick.
Yeah.
And you see she's getting all
I know I am.
a little bit aggressive there, you know.
I know I am. Isla. It's all right, darling. You're dreaming. Sorry.
That's all right,
She's
mate.
all right. She's
All
working
right.
hard feeding them 8 puppies. She's drained.
Oh, bless her. Bless her. So, like you were saying, this is your life.
Yeah.
So it's totally understandable when people are pushed and prodded that there's only going to be one reaction that you're going to get from that.
Yeah.
And when that person feels let down by the system, and the system is not just letting them down and not supporting them, it's actively targeting them.
Yeah.
So how is anyone going to react? To me, I
A
am...
normal person should act, I believe, in the way that I reacted.
Yeah.
You know, because if you believe your life's in danger, you're not going to sit there and be overly calm about it just to sway public opinion. You're going to tell the truth.
Yeah.
You know, you're going to come out with it as is and how it is in your mind at the time, which is why when I done the rant video, or people call it a rant video, it's actually a very, very truthful video.
In terms of emotion and
yeah,
how
and
you're feeling.
I knew, you know, I knew what I was doing, and I knew that I was going to get criticised for speaking out like that, and I knew that the way that the mainstream media was going to react towards it, and the way that they was going to portray me in the media, it's the same that they've always done. You know, it's the same as when I got the sack in 1997. Even though that was a setup, the way to portray me back then was, oh, he's just a druggie, and we should ban his records and all the rest of it. So it's, let's discredit him. That is the tool that they will always come in with first. And now when I see someone being discredited in the media, I tend to look further into their story because they are more than likely telling the truth.
It's the tools that they use.
Yeah, but I can't believe the public still fall for it.
A lot of public are still asleep, and they still have so much trust in the mainstream media.
Yeah, I know they do, and they shouldn't.
And a little point, what Eddie mentioned as well, some people's attention span. You know, if you're not concise and put it out in a quick amount of time, but with something like this, you can't.
You can't. I've had comments like that. You know, can you do a quick 10-minute video? And it's like, I'll just put, look, mate, there is absolutely no way I can give you all this information that I need to tell you and all the backstory on everything in 10 minutes. It's not going to happen. That's why me and Eddie's video went on for about an hour and a half. And that was me condensing stuff. You know, there's so much more that people don't know. If I was to play you, I mean, don't forget, I've been recording people now for 6 years. I've got 6 years of recordings, and a lot of those recordings go on for about 6 hours a time. You know, whether it be Operation Fairbank in my house twice, whether it be Wiltshire Police, whether it be Tim Wood from Ixaro, whether it be me on the phone to Andrew Ashworth after what happened with Bill Maloney and the rest of it. I'll get into that. The majority of these recordings are around 6 hours a time. So to get all of that information together with my backstory and the phone hacking and how I end up interviewing an alleged Operation Fernbridge witness, to condense all that down to 10 minutes, forget it, it's not going to happen.
You can't.
Done well with an hour and a half.
And even
really.
if you was, you would never be able to totally portray to people what has gone on.
No.
Because it'd be so vague, it'd be unbelievable.
Yeah, it would be unbelievable. You try to tell it in 10 minutes. And then people would still turn around and say, oh, I don't get it.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. I mean, we were going to start somewhere else, but you've just brought up a good point. You mentioned about when you admitted about taking ease.
Yeah.
Now, one thing that maybe a lot of people don't realise is that another band member actually done an interview before.
He did, yeah.
And he acknowledged and accepted that not only has he took drugs, but he then went on to explain how good this drug was in so many different ways.
Yeah.
I'm not castigating the guy. The point I'm trying to make is that
one rule for one and one for the other. We're both out the same band.
Yeah.
Why do I get ridiculed, but the other journalist sees eye to eye with him and doesn't turn him over?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's an interesting point. And that all comes down to the management, which at the time was Tom Watkins, who used to manage the Pet Shop Boys. He managed Bros, he managed us, and quite a few other different groups. There was the first ever, I think it was the first ever openly gay group. It was called Two Thirds. Another band which had Ant McPartlin's wife in there, or I don't know if he's divorced now or not, his ex-wife, Lisa. And that group was called Juice, and it was kind of like a prototype for Steps, really. It came before that. It was the same kind of format, 2 boys, 2 girls, kind of cheesy pop songs. And I fell out with the manager because of something that I found out, what he did to someone. And, you know, like I said to Eddie, I can't talk about that at this moment in time because more's going to unfold there. I promise you that. More is going to unfold. But no doubt it will come out in due course. And it is that very problem which was the reason for me being sacked from E17 in the first place and made to look like I destroyed myself. Hence, someone else doing an interview, that not happening, me doing an interview, quoting what that other person said, and me having a totally different outcome. And because of what happened, the management contract was about to end. We finished a 5-year management contract. And I told the manager outright, I'm never signing with you ever again. So because of that, and because of what I knew, it was in his interest to get rid of me and make me look like I destroyed myself.
At that time, what were the other band members saying when you says you wasn't going to sign? Were they in solidarity with you, or were they feeling
Yeah,
different?
there was a point in time when I thought we're all together on this decision. You know, let's tell this geezer what we think and let's move on, because the fans don't care who your manager is or what record company you signed to. They only cared about, you know, the band at the time. So that was the plan, and yeah, I thought we was in solidarity with that decision, but clearly we wasn't. And I ended up standing up and saying to the manager, you know, going into one of my rants again, which was fully justified, believe me. And I paid the price for it. And I would say that events that happened back then in 1997 are still behind the problems that I'm having today. Although the public wouldn't understand that. The public would perceive it as, oh, you know, he messed up his career in 1997 and he hasn't really done much since. And he's obviously bitter and angry about it, and oh, he does coke anyway and blah, blah, blah. So that's why, you know, he's outside Downing Street shouting and screaming. And that is just not the truth. And
It's an easy narrative for them to pick up from that.
Well, it is for the media.
Yeah.
Especially when you've got evidence against, you know, one of the media's main moguls that seems to control a little bit more than the media.
Yeah.
You know?
Is it right that he's the 8th richest man in the world?
Rupert Murdoch?
Yes. I'm assuming that's who you were talking about.
Yeah, that is what I'm talking about, yeah, definitely. I don't know. I've heard that as well, but whether it's true or not, I don't know. But it's safe to say he's got a few quid.
Yeah, far more than me and you.
Yeah.
That's for sure, Brian.
Yeah. Not for long.
Is it any, not to give out clues, but is there a correlation between the manager and the fact that he only manages boys? Have I said too much by saying that?
Well, I did ask him what he thought. I mean, he has managed girls before.
Okay.
He has done. He used to manage a group called Faith, Hope and Charity, which came before us. And if I'm right, I think Danny Bear was in that group.
Okay.
So he has managed girls, but if you ask Tom Watkins what he thought of girls sexually, you know, he'll turn around and tell you, ooh, I tried it once, it made me feel sick.
Right.
Which obviously I can't relate to.
Yeah, yeah. Well, this is it.
Yeah.
And you do strike me as a person that the way we say it up north is that you've got a mouth in your head and you're not afraid of getting up there and saying it.
Well, this was my problem. This was my problem. This has always been my problem. I say my problem, but, you know, I've said this before, and it's like, look, I'm alive now. If I can't say what I think and what I feel in life now while I'm alive, then what's the point of anything, you know?
Sure.
Do I just follow what everyone else does and what they say and how they act and, you know, what they do, what they like to watch. I've got my own interests. I'm my own person. I've got my own views. And personally, I think you need people like that. And people shouldn't be scared, you know. Everyone... David Icke said something once, and it was... And it's true. You need to lose the fear of what other people think, because that is the prison that you're kept in. And there's a lot of people stuck in that prison at the moment.
Yeah, yeah. Once that shackle's released, it's unbelievable how free you are.
Yeah, but you will be ridiculed for it.
Yes, without a doubt.
Yeah.
Without a doubt. So, let's start then.
Yeah.
In a concise way, the best way you can do it.
Yeah.
How would you explain to people what's gone on, generally? Because a lot of people from the first interview, because you've relayed tons and tons of information, there's information just as important within the first 5 minutes as in 1 hour 33 minutes, because I do believe it went on for... And it was very interesting, I loved it.
Yeah.
But same again, something that Eddie touched on about the attention span of people.
Yeah.
So the way we've decided to go about this now is to try and get an overview right at the beginning. Yeah,
and I want to do that for the public, because, you know, I wouldn't be doing all of this if I didn't think that they needed to know.
Sure.
You know, this ain't about me, can I have the attention please, and I really want to get back out there, and I want to be in front of the cameras again.
Some people suggested that you try to sell a book or...
Yeah, no, that's not, I ain't got a book coming out. That's complete rubbish. I ain't got a book coming out, and neither have I got any plans to bring a book out either. I mean, the fact that Rupert Murdoch owns most of the publishing companies, you know, it's going to be a problem anyway, you know what I mean? It ain't going to happen anyway. So I look at the chances of me bringing a book out about as much as me having a #1 record in this country again, and having it power played by Radio 1. Now I've got about as much chance.
Yeah.
So I mean, what part do you want to start on, Phil? Like, what do you think is the most confusing part for the public that they're not getting? Is it the sacking? Although I think we kind of just sort of roughly covered that.
Yeah.
Is it, how does this phone hacking that I keep going on about, how does that
tie into
and intertwine
I think
into...
Probably from the hacking onwards, really.
Yeah.
And then all the nefarious characters that have popped up in between.
All right.
You know?
Yeah.
And the fact that you didn't see it at the time because you were going with the flow and you were young, you were in, you know, all this kind of stuff. And then obviously as age went on and this certain people were treating you bad, putting you in certain situations. Yeah. Certain things were clicking.
All right. Let me give you a rough timeline then of all of that. So what I'll do is, if I start, I need to make this bigger. All right. So if we start about here, so this is back in 1997. Now this is E17 singer sacked for making ecstasy remarks. This is where my problems start, and the reason that I have problems here is because I basically told the manager, I'll never sign with you again, and I want the band to move to another management so we can carry on. And the reason for that was I wasn't, you know, it's many reasons. The main one was what the manager did to someone. But the other reason was there was no creative control myself.
You're a very creative person.
I am,
See that you DJ, you've got into filming,
I am. I've literally had to walk away from everything to be able to go and do it on my own. To go, yeah, see, I told you I could do it, at least to just prove it to myself.
Sure.
So, but if you're in a band, then that can be seen as a problem. But it isn't the main problem. The main problem is what Tom Watkins done to someone else. I found out about.
Who's Tom Watkins?
Tom Watkins was our ex-manager, the guy that managed Brass, Pet Shop Boys, E17, and a few other bands. So after that event, I get sacked from the group, and it's all about, he's spoken about ecstasy, and this is outrageous. And even though I was asked to do that very interview on my own by the manager's sister, who briefly before this happened had pulled me aside on my own and said, look, Brian, you know, if you're ever going to go solo, you need to tell me now, because it takes a year to set up. And I couldn't believe what I was hearing.
What do you think he was saying by saying that to you?
Well, that was his Tom Watkins, his sister Sally, that said this to me.
Sorry.
And I'll tell you where we was at the time as well. We was on the, it was the second from last song that we ever brought out, which was If You Ever with Gabrielle. A lot of people would remember that song.
Lovely tune, yeah.
So we was in Toledo in Spain, and we was shooting in the train station there that looked quite arty and stuff. And we went back to the hotel and we was getting changed, getting ready to go back to the shoot on another location. And I was in Sally's hotel room, which is when she said that to me. She said, you know, Brian, like, E17's not going to last forever. And if you want to go solo, you need to tell me now, because it takes a year to set up. And I was horrified, because like the Greatest Hits album was out and that, and we've all heard the rumours, once you got a Greatest Hits album coming out, you know, that's the end. And it was coming up to the end of a 5-year management contract, so it was like, ooh, this is going to end. And I didn't want it to end. Sure. I didn't want to go solo, you know, and that's the truth. So I went back and told the others. And
what was their response when?
What's going on now? Like I said, listen, don't worry about it. I've said, look, I don't want to go solo, so don't worry, it ain't going to happen. And so after that, we had another single coming out, which was called Hey Child, and which was our last E17 record that we had out as the full lineup, the original lineup. And in that meeting, there was a meeting, and you know, when I stood up and said to Tom Watkins, I'll never sign with you again, ever, right? Not re-signing the management contract, because I think, although he looked like he was starting to lose interest, we're all right for another 5 years worth of money for him. And that was definitely not going to happen after what I found out we did. No way. So as soon as he knew I was against him and I was the enemy, this happens, right? Now, the thing about this and me being sacked for the ecstasy comment, Tony in the group also had said something 2 or 3 weeks prior to that. And we was on tour at the time. I can't remember exactly where we was. It was in this country. And I walked into the dressing room with John from the group while Tony was doing that interview. And I think it was The Guardian, I'm not sure. And Tony was talking about ecstasy, he was talking about the effects of ecstasy and how it increases love, and it's not like alcohol, for example, which will, you know, make you angry and want to kick off, and you know what I mean, and all that. And I'm looking at the journalist and I'm thinking, and the guy seemed quite on a level with him. The piece came out, and you know, it was pretty much in Tony's favour. He wasn't being slagged off for it or anything, you know. So obviously when I done my interview, I said a lot of the similar things because I heard him say it. And I thought, well, it's no secret anyway. Everyone knew that we smoked weed and smoked fags and had birds, and, you know, it was an East End rough and ready alternative to someone like Take That. Everyone knew that, you know, it was no secret. So I thought, oh, you know, I'll just say, well, you know, what I did. Now, the interview that I did, I was told by Tom Watkins' sister Sally, who was at Top of the Pops at the time in Elstree, and it was middle of the afternoon, mid to late afternoon, and I've been asked by Sally, Brian, can you please just go into the green room and do this interview on your own? It was specifically on my own.
Did he say why?
Well, I just assumed that where we used to split the interviews up in the past to break down the workload.
So were they doing other interviews?
No, they was going over to the cafeteria to eat. So I'm like,
so that kills.
Yeah, I was like, hang on a minute, I want to go over there as well. Like, oh, go on, Brian, it'll take you 5 minutes. I'm like, all right, you know what I mean, one of them situations. So I go into the green room at Top of the Pops, and there's a guy sitting there with his dictaphone at the table, and his name was Anthony Simon, which is this guy here. And he was from IRN, International Regional News, and he was a new journalist on the scene at that time. Hadn't done much before. I think maybe one of his first interviews from what I read. And so I've sat down at the table with the guy, and he's, you know, you know, how's it going and all that. Yeah, brilliant. You know, we're at top of the pops. Records charted, Hey Child, Tony's singing this one. Good luck to him. I'm taking a back seat on this one. I'm going to sweep up when everyone's finished doing what they're doing on the stage. You know, we used to make a little joke about it, like being in the background and that. Yeah,
there was no animosity.
No,
the fact that
no. If anything, it was like, yo, wicked up and just sort of sit on a stool and go like that for a change. You know what I mean? Yeah, easy life. And I said, yeah, you know, Tony's singing this one. And he went, oh, yeah, that's right, Tony Mortimer. He gave quite a candid interview to, I think it was The Guardian, I can't be 100%, but I think it was, and spoke about ecstasy. Have you got anything to say about it?
So he acknowledged within that interview that someone else has already said
Yes, he did, He did, yeah. Which is strange in itself, that he didn't... See, I think that he was going to. Maybe I think he wanted to talk to Tony, who'd done that interview. Sure. But because I've told the manager, I'm never signing with you again, they gave him me, knowing I'm going to sit there and be open and honest. Now, this guy, all he wanted clearly was a quote, you know, of me saying, yeah, I've took him or whatever. And what they did off the back of that was pulled me right into the Leah Betts story, which was the young girl who died taking ecstasy.
Sure.
Which was terrible, you know what I mean? Because then what they've done is they've made me look like... I felt like I might as well have given her the pill that killed her, right? And that was what was left on my shoulders at the time.
It was brought up in...
It was brought up in Parliament.
Parliament, yeah.
And no other pop star has been brought up in Parliament, apparently, apart from me. Now, the time frame from when I'd done the interview, as I say, it was late afternoon because it was dinner time, so it must have been 5, 6 o'clock-ish in the green room. And then we done Top of the Pops, and you don't get out of there until, I don't know, 8, 9 o'clock, something like that, because they do it, back then they'd done everything real time, but the night before, but as if it was live the next night. God knows why, I don't know why, but that's just how they did it. So you get a clear time of around 9 o'clock, 9:30, something like that. And once we'd done the show, I was driven home, and the next morning I was woke up early, about, I don't know, 7, 8 o'clock-ish, something like that, which ain't me. And there was a knock on the door, and I sort of went to the top window and looked out, and I could see what a journalist, a woman, a journalist, and a photographer with his camera. So, you know, this is that's not unusual either. You know, you'd have journalists knock on your door sometimes when they know where you live. So I went downstairs in me pyjamas, opened the door and said, "Oh, you all right?" I thought, you know, it's obviously about something. Let me let them in. I'm none the wiser of what's going on at this point. I brought them in. I said, "I'm going to make a cup of tea. Do you want a cup of tea?" And they went, "Yeah, fine." I said, "All right, go into the front room and now I'll just put the kettle on. I'll be in a second." So I made a cup of tea, went into the front room, and said, "Right, what's this all about?" And literally picked up the TV remote and turned the telly on just for a bit of background noise. And I'm on the telly, being spoken about by John Major in Parliament. And I've looked at the journalist and said, "What's going on?" And she said, "You know, you don't you know?" And I said, "No." She said, "You know, you had an outburst yesterday." I said, "An outburst?" I said, "I didn't have an outburst. What are you talking about?" They said, "Yeah, you made some comments about ecstasy and you've been on the news since 5:30 this morning."
Jesus.
And I thought, what?
You was asked a question.
I was asked a question. I gave an honest answer. I didn't know that was going to happen. Otherwise, I would have just... I knew I didn't want to do the interview in the first place. That's the ironic thing about it. So I was like, an outburst? I said, I didn't have an outburst. What are you talking about? And I think these two were from the Mirror.
Oh, right, okay.
Right, who's recently reported me in a bad light again, without even contacting me. But this time they did, and they're in my living room. So this woman journalist has gone to me, "Well, look, Brian, look, we want to help you get your side of the story across." This is how they come at you, you know what I mean? Yeah, let's get your side of the story across. And she had a big envelope under her arm. It was about that sort of size, yeah? I don't know if that's A3 or something, yeah? About A3 sort of size. And I'm thinking, what's that? And she said, "Look, what we want to do is we want to sit down with you and help you get your side of the story across." And I said, "All right, so, you know, why would you want to do that, you know?" She said, "Well, look, we've got an idea of what you can do. And she opened this envelope and pulled out a picture of Leah Betts in a coma on the hospital bed and tried to get me, I see a photographer reaching for his camera and said to me, look, if we can get a picture of you holding this up, looking at it sympathetically, you know, we think this can help turn things around for you. And I just thought, what? I had the picture to the back of them, yeah, so they had the blank side facing them.
Right.
I put it back in the envelope and said, get the fuck out of my house now.
So what was your thought process when you...
I just thought, this is a stitch-up. Of course it's a stitch-up. Why would you want to help me? You know, I'd been in the Mirror front pages and to a few pages in a while back where some of the Mirror's paparazzi had started a fight with me outside Stringfellas, pushed my mate and started a fight, and ended up putting on a medical neck brace around the wrong way himself to get pictures. Yeah, and his name was Ronaldo Vargas, and he had a guy called John Bushell who was taking the photographs. And this was on the front page of the Mirror to a few pages in.
Right.
So I never trusted the Mirror anyway. So I knew this had to be a stitch-up. So I put the photograph back in the envelope and just said, get the fuck out of my house. Anyway, I threw them out and then I sat on the stairs and I just thought to myself, what is going on? And obviously I thought, this must have something to do with what I said to the manager. It has to have. Because there's a quote from John Hendy, who was in the group, and it's in a video that I've put up online. I'm not sure whether I've taken it off of YouTube or not, but it's going to come up again, where John heard Tom Watkins say, I'll make sure you never work again. Right? That was his words, and it's been quoted. So
Nothing like bearing grudges there.
Yeah. And this was obviously how he was going to go about doing it, because he knew I weren't going to sign with him no more, so I'm no good to him. So this is the start of my...
Just wants to ruin you now.
That's it, want to ruin me. This is the takedown, when really he should be the one that was getting ruined, right?
With
and
the
he's
knowledge you had.
yeah, and he's going to have to face up to that in the very near future. He's going to have to face up to what he's done. He'll deny it, right? But everyone knows I'm telling the truth. People that know me, friends of mine, and people in our own circle, they know I'm telling the truth. And they will back me up on it. So after I kicked the journalists out, I sat on the stairs, I had my head in my hands, thinking, what is going on here? Why are they making such a big deal out of this comment? Because obviously Tony said something about it, and this ain't happened to him. So I rang the management, and I've got through to Sally, who made me do the interview. Obviously, I've gone into one of my rants. Right? Gone into one of my rants, I'm calling her all sorts of names. You fucking told me to do that interview. You sent me in there on my fucking own. You're fucking setting me up. Oh, and then they do what bit like what John Wedger would do. Oh, Brian, you shouldn't have said what you've said, and it's winding me up even more. So I've put the phone down, and I'm sitting there thinking, oh mate, I see what's going on here now. So a couple of days later, or was it even the next day, they send our tour manager round with a letter. Everyone signed it, you're out of the band. And I'm thinking, what? Who's going to sing the songs then? You know? Because really, there ain't no singers in that band. I mean, people can do backing vocals and whatnot, but there ain't no lead singers in that band, right? And so I'm thinking, like, I'm out of the band. And John, we was living in this new housing development at the time, and John lived just opposite me, but just a little bit further up on the corner. So I've gone over there, another rant, you know what I mean? Going, how can you fucking sign this out of the band and that? And he's like, oh, I don't want to fucking hear it and that. But what the management had actually done to the others, or at least Terry and John, because, you know, they were sort of kept more in the background, right? And, you know, I felt for them on that score, but if you're not a lead singer, you're not a lead singer, right? And it's not that they couldn't do anything, but they was kept in the background. So I can understand them being a bit frustrated. And truth be known, that they had pressure put on them in order to sign that to get me out of the group. Right? That is.
Yeah, because you were saying earlier, they had solidarity. They were in solidarity with you when it come to you wanting to get new management.
Yeah.
You know? So
yeah,
why this sudden mental change with them all?
Yeah, well,
or intimidation.
They'd all been put under pressure, basically. You know what I mean? And it all comes down to what I found out about again, without giving too much away. So I'm out of the band. So and this guy here is the guy that done the interview. His name's Anthony Simon. He was working for International Regional News, which was, I think, was a main media outlet, and then they distribute it out to everyone else. I think he done it anyway. And today, he works at 10 Downing Street. He's got Andy Coulson's old job, Director of Communications. Now, to me, that is really strange because I've got evidence against Andy Coulson.
Okay.
And that's why I turned up at Downing Street. It was your mates, David Cameron, who phone tapped me. Andy Coulson's on an email, which proves, beyond any reasonable doubt, that he would have known that I was phone tapped because it contained parts of that phone tapping in the rest of that email. You can only see the top where it says Tom Crone, Andy Coulson, Neil Wallace, and a couple of others from a Hayley Barlow, who's now head of communications at Channel 4. But before that, I'd only worked at the News of the World all her life. So that's what I was doing at Downing Street. But going back to this is the guy that done it. So he now currently still works at Downing Street. So moving a little bit further forward now after the sacking and all of the rest of it, we get to April 2002. Now by this time I'd found new management, you know, I was talking to new people, was doing quite well actually.
Okay.
And I'd worked with Wyclef Jean, right, which I couldn't believe I was doing, you know, that was a big thing for me to get someone like that. And that was all going well. We had a really good record called Loving You, which Radio 1 didn't power play.
Just to stop you there, because I don't want to lose your train of thought, but did you ever tell Wycliffe about what happened with the band and whatnot? Were you that
I'm
close,
sure I told him, but you know, it was a new situation when I was there. There was other things to think about. Sure. It was more for the first time about being creative and being musical.
And being free.
Yeah, and getting this record right, because I didn't want to fail, you know what I mean? I didn't want to fail. And so I'm taken to America by the new management, and I'm working with Wyclef, and I went back a couple of times. On the second time I went back, it was when 9/11 happened, because the morning of 9/11, I was supposed to be going over to, I think the place was called Orange. I think it's called Orange County.
Orange County?
Yeah, I was going to Orange County, which was across the bridge, and we couldn't get across the main bridge because of what had happened, and they'd sealed everywhere off. And we was literally about 8 blocks away from where it actually happened.
Okay.
So, to stop me going out, this is what I believe. My belief is that the ex-manager, Tom Watkins, being this powerful person, has got connections clearly in the media, right? I know for a fact he's got connections within Parliament, because how did you get John Major talking about me in Parliament within a matter of hours after doing that interview? You know, which was late afternoon at Top of the Pops in '97. So I suspect that the hacking, which happens around this setup, what the News of the World done on me.
Right.
Now, you notice that this says E17 stars coke sting on X. Now, what would stop you from going to America? A drugs conviction.
Sure.
Yeah.
Right, okay. So slander you, and then that will stifle your future prospects in your career.
Which was actually going really well. And the only thing that could have messed that up was a drugs conviction. Yeah. Right? And
so what your manager says about, I'll make sure you
never work again. This is what I'm saying. So what am I supposed to believe? And I do believe that, regardless of however he may want to deny it, and I've just got the brain of an ant and I'm an idiot. Well, I'm not an idiot.
Is that what he said to you?
He said that. No, he said that. He stated that on a documentary about me.
Right.
Yeah, well, we know that's not true now.
How much has he made off you? But yet you've got a brain of an ant.
We sold 22 million records in total. So
I don't know many ants that
sold 22
right.
million records, yeah. #1 records, #1 albums. You know, so I believe that he had connections there and they decided to do a sting operation on me. Just like they did with John Alford and they done with Talisa Contestavlos. They always seem to go for the chavier kind of person, or at least that's how we're perceived, you know, a chavvy person who's done well, but if you destroy them, they will not have the money or the backup to fight back.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Afterwards.
And you've got a bit of, you're an unpredictable character.
Yeah.
Because of the way you are, which is beautiful. Because that's what a human being about. You've got real emotions and you react to something. If you don't like something, you're going to say it.
That's right, yeah.
But within their realm, everything's all,
you
just go along with it.
You mustn't say that. You can't say things like that. And, you know, like I've said before, I live in the real world, and if I can't say what I mean now, then what's the point? You know, who am I pleasing now? You know, your life's supposed to be your own. You know, it doesn't belong to a manager or a record company that are just drawing money out of you anyway. And when you're no good, they just throw you away.
Well, you've got a moral compass, Brian.
Yeah, I actually have got a moral compass. You know, and most people will believe things like this and what you've read recently in the Mirror and in all the papers actually. The Sun, you've got a cheek writing anything. The Sun, you really have. And also the Mirror, they've got a cheek as well because they've done me many times as well. What I find strange about the Mirror, just jumping forward for 1 second, is in 2014 they put Andrew Ash, the alleged Fernbridge witness, on the front page of their paper, but yet when I bring him up in my rant, it's not there.
Cricket.
It's not there at all. It's selective. Let's just select the bit that makes him look mad. Let's take screenshots from the video that just make him look mad.
I've noticed that with all the different clips. I mean, they do that with anyone if they want to demonise you.
Yeah.
They're not going to get you when you're in a good mood and nice, cleanly shaven. They'll get you when you're looking rough. You know, you maybe just nipping at a shop and you don't want to be seen. Click.
You're pulling a face or something. You know what I mean? You might be half sneezing and that, and they use that. You know what I mean? That's what they do. And then people will read the article that they've done and see the picture and go, oh, I don't like him.
Yeah, because it fits.
Yeah, that's it. No fault for what you like as a person, you know, whatever you've done for anyone, that don't matter, it all goes out the window.
Between the lines, no, them two correlate.
Yeah, none of that.
Manipulation.
Yeah, that is total manipulation, and that is what the public are having done to them. And they had it done to them the other day. You know, I've got no reason to lie. Why do I need to lie? Why would I put my neck on the line and get involved with, you know, what I've been involved with and try and tell everyone, and when I know that I'm going to get ridiculed by a country that hates me anyway.
The country don't hate you, it's just a
But that's how it's made me feel.
Yes.
That's how it's made me feel, and I ain't even going to lie about that.
Yeah.
I just feel like before anyone would even speak to me or say anything to me, oh yeah, him, he's a prick, man, yeah, he does it, he does that. That's what I think.
They believe the hype, they're muppets, I mean, what, you know.
But it's, a lot of the time, it's not their fault because they're being led into believing that about a person. You know, and they're wrong. They're wrong. That's not who I am at all. So, going back now to our timeline, we've done the E17, the Tom Watkins, the sacking. I've moved on, new management, and we're in 2002, April 2002, the same month that Millie Dowler's phone hacked, and I'm getting hacked within this so-called coke sting on X. And they're tapping my phone, they're doing my house phone, they're doing my mobile, right? And in the transcript form, it looks like they was doing my friend as well,
right,
who's now dead. He's dead. One of my best friends, he's dead. And to look at the transcripts, you know, it says my friend's name there, Reese, and he's not here anymore. And it looks like he was the only other person that was phone tapped, and he's not here to be able to speak or defend himself. Plus, back then within this, They were calling him a drug dealer. You know, the News International, the News of the World, who own the News of the World and the Sun and various other papers. But when you look at, you know, it was only a couple of years back that he died. They're calling him a hero for saving his daughter. And he did save his daughter from drowning. And my feeling is, I believe they had something to do with it. These people. You know, what's to say that he's in Spain, his missus goes off with the other kids and had to go and get something to eat. He's going to go in the water with his daughter, turns his head for a minute, someone puts something in his drink, right? He has a bit of his drink, goes in the water for a splash about with his daughter, and whatever it is starts taking effect while he's in the water. He panics, knowing something's not right, fights to get his daughter out of the water, and he drowns. And that is so convenient for these people right now.
Plus, it's something else to take you over the edge.
Yeah, something else to push. And also, I believe, a big warning sign to me.
Yeah, could be that.
That's what I believe.
Yeah.
You know, I'll just come out and say it. That is what I believe.
Yeah. No, well, you know, you've got every right to believe that. With all the events that have gone on, I can't say for sure whether that, but I know how cunning and conniving the media is, and the other tentacles that work around it as well.
Yeah.
So a lot of people will be watching this now and go, well, I can't say he's not telling the truth there. You know, it's probable that because
it's
this
very probable
goes on all the time.
Yeah.
You know, people get set up, things happen.
Yeah.
I
mean, you think a newspaper, I mean, you considering how many pages are in that, they got to fill that up every single day with something new. So if you think about it, really, of course a load of it's made up. You know, you start with a blank sheet of paper, you've got to fill that up with news. You know, where's it all coming from? You've got to be creating 90% of it, surely.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, like you say, I mean, they do have that power to be able to make and break people.
Yeah.
And the media and certain papers, they're almost social engineers.
Yeah,
because by doing that, they can change public perception.
That's
just
it.
like that.
That's what, and that is what they do. You know, and that's been admitted. I mean, you know, I've interviewed people myself, like Ian Cutler, who used to work for the News of the World during the 60s, 70s, and I think early 80s.
Right.
And you know, he's told me that he's had 40 front page stories, or X amount of front page stories and inside stories. And I said to Ian, out of all those 40 front page stories that was in the News of the World, how many of them was made up? And he went, all of them.
Really?
Yes, all of them.
Right.
And I believe him.
Right.
I believe him.
Yeah.
You know, I've known him for a little while now, and you know, obviously to begin with, I mean, I went to see him. It's not like he came to me, so he's got that on his side. I believe him.
He's fighting against murder as well, isn't he?
He has. He's had a book out now for about 12, probably coming up on 13 years, long before I was ever fighting these people.
Right.
Where in his book, The Camera Assassin, he invites Murdoch to sue him. Right. And of course, what they do with him, same thing as what they do with me. Oh, he's mad. You know, he's not. You know, he's not all there and all that. I'll tell you, he's had a stroke, and Ian claims that was because of them.
Right.
And he alleges through Murdoch's connections with the police beat him up, and that's what gave him the stroke in the first place.
The police beat him up?
Yeah. That's what he's saying.
Wow.
Yeah, which is where he says he believes that the stroke came from. He said he was having a stroke in the cell and tried to tell the police doctor and was ignored. That's what he says. And I believe him. I've got to say, I believe him, because I know how nasty and how sick these people carry on. I know what they've done to me, so I've got no reason to doubt him.
Sure.
And he's so honest with me. You know, you've got to look past someone who's had a stroke. You know, there's nothing wrong with his brain.
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with that man's brain. And, you know, he's become a bit of an ally. And the fact that he's had that book out for so long before I was doing this, tells me, well, I believe him.
Yeah. Yeah, it's the longest lie ever then, isn't it? You know, why would he do it? There's no logic for him coming out on that plateau.
No, and he is who he says he is.
Yeah.
You know, I got Greg Miskill, the news editor, that called this job on. You know, a direct employee of News International PLC, which is why this is now a corporate liability, because the editor called the job on, sent the journalist to Chingford to do this job, sent all the people there. That's a job being called on by the news editor. And I managed to get his number and rung him by surprise from an ex-girlfriend of his called Christine Hart, who I've also done a long interview with, which is online. That's where we spoke about the red rooms and stuff. I wasn't going to go there with that, you know, because I've got enough on my plate as it is, but she half led me into it, you know, and I mean, it's done now, isn't it? And she was the ex-girlfriend of Greg Miskill, the news editor, who was not only the editor of the time when this happened to me in April 2002, which means he's also the editor of the time of the Millie Dowler hacking. Right. So, and if you listen to that interview, it's on my YouTube, you will hear Greg Miskill in his own voice. He can't remember my story. I can remember bits, but, you know, I can't remember. But then when I said to him, well, you know, about Millie Dowler, you know, I said to him, what, Greg, you saying I weren't phone tapped? Well, yeah. And he's umming and ahhing. He knows. He knows. And then he admits, and it comes out of his own mouth, you know, I know the far end of a fart with regards to the story of Millie Dowler. I know how the information was gleaned. I know this and I know that. But I'm done the same month and he can't remember nothing. And he says, in his own words, how Millie Dowler was phone tapped. And that has never come out. And it comes out of his mouth, not mine. It comes out of his mouth, and that's a news editor.
A crime's a crime.
Yeah,
why is it not being pulled out?
Yeah.
They're quick to do this to you.
Yeah.
Why can't they do the same?
Because
justice is justice.
Well, this is what I'm saying, and this is why my story is interesting, because it's the same time as Millie Dowler, and the head journalist on this sting operation is the same journalist who's bylined on the Millie Dowler story. Now, this journalist has denied any knowledge of any hacking or the accessing of Millie Dowler's voicemails.
That's Robert Calloway, is it?
Robert Kellaway.
Calloway, sorry.
Robert Kellaway. And I've got his police witness statement. And when I got that, that's when the shit hit the fan. But we'll get to that. Sure. We'll get to that in a minute, because I don't want to confuse people. So this is April 2002. E17 stars Coke Sting on X. This was a setup. And I got not guilty when we went to the criminal trial a year later, possession and supplying of a Class A controlled drug. Right, now, if I can bring up that, this is another article from there where literally they say pop star Brian Harvey hired a hitman to drug and sexually degrade his wife. This so-called hitman was an ex-boyfriend of my then wife that I wasn't aware of. And in his police witness statement, he talks about a situation which goes back to 1999. Now, that's 3 years prior to 2002. So how is he an anonymous hitman? He's an ex-boyfriend, and you've missed that bit out. But yet, it only paints me up in a bad light. Yeah. News of the world, once again. So this was after, this is June, Friday the 13th, 2003, so nearly a year later. And I just got not guilty, in which the judge says, this week a judge claims singer Brian Harvey didn't have a stain on his character. That's coming from the judge. But the News of the World, our hate-filled tapes prove him wrong, guilty. All right, and once again, here we go, let's show that picture where you look like you're off your nut, and you're in handcuffs, being led into the cells.
So you, by extension, you are? Oops, what have I just done there?
Oh, no, you're right, you're right.
Touchscreen. Very technological.
Yes. Your brother gave me that.
Cool, brother. But same again, how can they disregard what a judge has said?
Yeah, and this is libelous.
Yes.
Totally libelous. You can't call me guilty when I just got not guilty.
Yeah.
Right,
did you ever consider going through that channel, or
well,
what was your
I would have
process?
done, but the solicitor, and this name's going to come up again and again, whose name was Richard Mallet, from Mallet Solicitors. I've just got not guilty, and no defamation claim was filed by Richard Mallett after getting me not guilty. He had all of the transcripts of all of the recordings. After he won my case and I get not guilty, that was it. Gone. I don't see him again. I never see him again after that. So that was the end of that. You know, I mean, I was just pleased to get not guilty. You know what I mean? But I just, you know, I was on him like, you know, we're going to do anything more with this and that. Can't get hold of him. Bit like when he come back to me in 2012. Once he got what he wanted, I can't get hold of him again. But we'll get to that in a minute. So yeah, I got not guilty and they called me guilty. I mean, that's wrong. And I don't know anyone else that they've done that to. And you can see there, Robert Kellaway, you know, he's bylined on the story. He'd probably say that was put there as a professional favour if he was asked today, wouldn't it?
Well, he actually said in one of his statements that
he did with Millie Dowler.
Yeah.
Yeah, with Millie Dowler.
Production
he said
error.
That. Production error or done as a favour to keep his byline count up. That is his official answer to the hacking inquiry.
I'm not being funny. I mean, that's going to piss off the person. If that was true, which it clearly probably wasn't.
Yeah.
But if that was true, then the person that actually written the story, what do you think they'd be saying? They'd be doing what you'd be doing and ranting all over the place.
Yeah, they're going to rant.
Written a story of their life and all of a sudden their name's not there.
Yeah, my name's not on
It's
there.
like you having a number one record and then all of a sudden Eddie's okay's written it. It's
Yeah,
like,
yeah. It's exactly that. Eddie,
I know you can sing, mate.
You've got to have a rant, Ed, mate. You've got to have a right rant up about that one, haven't you? So when I do get phone tapped, it is me and my friend Reese, who here you can see in 2016 killed saving his girl. British father dies trying to rescue his daughter 10 after she got into difficulties on a family holiday in Spain. Now, if you look at the paperwork from within this story, the News of the World are calling him a drug dealer, right? Or the hitman is accusing him of being a drug dealer, and the police are saying he's a drug dealer. But in 2016, he's a hero. Now, this is the only other man on paper, transcript-wise, who had proof of phone tapping. So this is one of the reasons for me to start fearing for my life straight away, right? Because he was a strong swimmer, right? He's a strong swimmer. And if he's in water with his 10-year-old daughter, you know, he's not out in silly depth waters because he's not going to put his daughter in any danger. Yeah. So there's something suspicious there. And you'll see his name on the transcripts in a bit. So Friday the 13th of June 2003, pop star cleared of drugs charges, right? And this is from, I don't know, from one of the news articles. But I was cleared, and everyone knows that. Now this is Richard Mallett. This is a solicitor that won the case for me. Right. Now this same guy, like I said, I didn't see him after I got not guilty. No defamation of claim filed against the News of the World, nothing. This guy comes back to me in 2012. And the date was the 24th of April 2012. Almost 10 years to the date I was hacked. I was hacked on the 26th of April 2002. Right. He comes back to me on the 24th of April 2012. Okay. Right? Yeah, you know, 2 days out and 10 years. So, and he comes back to me through another manager. I'm being looked after by someone else at that point, a guy called Simon Harrison. And Simon Harrison was aware of Richard Mallett's name because he started looking after me just a little while after all of this ended. After all of the not guilty ended, yeah. So I got another manager again, you know. And in 2012, 24th of April 2012, Simon Harrison, my manager, says to me, "Oh, you know, I've had a call from a Richard Mallett. Do you know who he is?" Obviously, alarm bell started ringing, so I thought, you know who Richard Mallett is, but I didn't say that to him. I just said, "Oh, well, what's he want?" And he goes, "Well, you know," he says, "you've got a really good case here, mate. He's talking about millions." I said, "Yeah?" I said, "Well, give me his number." Right, so I get his number.
You know straight away.
Yeah, so I get his number, and I ring him, and I say words to him in the effect of, "Richard, look, you know, look, I'm not really in a great place in that at the minute because, you know, I'd had a bit of depression and that in the past. Doesn't make you a nutcase, you know, if you feel bad, yeah? Which isn't surprising after the time that I've had. Sold 22 million records, come down to nothing. You know, I've had all sorts of dramas in my life, you know, car accidents, you know, all sorts gone on. And I said to him, look, you know, is there legs in this? And he went, oh yeah, there's legs in it. This is a slam dunk case. This is worth millions. And when I win this for you, you know, the other side pay the costs. So I thought, brilliant, you know, what do you need from me? So he wanted me to give him the authority in order to go to the Met Police. And you can see the date here, 24th of April 2012. Richard Mallett from Mallett Solicitors. He's now not in Wisbeach in, what's that area? Cambridgeshire.
Okay.
He's now in Freefield Court, Gray's Inn. So at some point he's moved from Wisbeach to right in the centre of it all in Gray's Inn Square. And, you know, that couldn't have happened long after I couldn't get hold of him after he won my case, because my suspicion is he done such a good job on my case, they've gone, we must have this bloke. Plus, he's got phone tapping evidence against us. We better bring him in and give him some work. That's what I think happened, right? So anyway, 24th of April 2012. Dear Richard, as per your conversation with my manager Simon Harrison, I'm writing to say I authorise Mallett Solicitors to make inquiries with the Metropolitan Police to ascertain whether I've been the victim of telephone hacking. Yours sincerely, Brian Lee Harvey, signed 24th of the 4th, 12, right? 24th of April 2012. So I print that off, I sign it, I scan it, I send that back over to him. So now he's got my authorisation to go to the Met and have whatever they've got with regards to phone hacking released into his care legally. And I mean, the strange thing is, what he should have been saying to me is don't matter what they've got, I got all the transcripts from back then, and they've forgotten about the micro cassette that Kellaway was talking about. Don't matter, it's just a cherry on the cake, whatever they got. Yeah. You know, I've got it all here, mate, so don't worry. But he wasn't saying that. He did mention that he still got the paperwork and stuff like that, but he didn't, you know, this is like to ascertain whether I've been the victim of telephone hacking. We already know. You ain't got to ascertain nothing, Richard. You know what I mean? You already know and are holding it all.
Semantical games.
Yeah.
I mean, the fact that he's put hacking as well.
Yeah. You know, I was told how to write it, what to put. Telephone hacking. Now, there's different sides to hacking. Telephone hacking would be your phone being hacked, your house phone. Now, telephone hacking, which was done because it appears on the Mulcair note at the bottom on page 60. So this is criminal. I mean, listening to mobile telephone voicemail messages is criminal also. But that is what they are actually calling hacking over phone tapping or telephone hacking. Hacking, they are describing as the monitoring and listening to of voicemail messages, mobile telephone voicemail messages. So on your mobile, you know, which is where people wouldn't change their standard password, and these people knew that, and they would go in and listen to people's voice messages, famous people's, and find out what they're saying to each other, and ping them and find out exactly where they're located and where they are. And the person that was doing this for the News of the World is a guy called Glenn Mulcair, who, I've got a picture of him here somewhere.
There's lots of evidence.
Oh, there's a lot. This is Glenn Mulcair, yeah? And this was the guy that was hired by the News of the World, was a private investigator, and he would, as they would say, do the mobiles. So when it comes to the hacking trials or the telephone or the hacking inquiry, hacking is classed as the listening to of voicemail messages, to which all of the victims from that were put in a compensation scheme, which was a civil case, not criminal, civil. So as you can see from the authorisation that I've given to Mallet, we're talking about telephone hacking. You know, it should say phone tapping there, really, which is criminal. Yeah. So what's happened there? Because I'm later made to sign. This is the 24th of April 2012. After I sign this, Mallet I don't hear from him. I do hear from his office and a couple of the people that are under him, and they do come round here with a few bundles of rubbish where I'm not going to find anything. You know, I mean, they even had the cheek to say to me, can you find anything that relates to this Zorba, this hitman, being given recording equipment to record you? Another rant. You've got it. You've got all the paperwork. Where's Mallet? You tell him to fucking ring me now. Yeah. Can't get hold of the
And they still call him a hitman?
Still, well, you know, it's the person that they're referring to.
Right, okay.
It's interesting, that guy, because Peter Jukes, the guy that live tweeted the whole hacking trial, has associated him to Mazza Mahmood. Right. Swears he's heard his name as someone that's fallen out with Mazza Mahmood, and Robert Kellaway fallen out of Mazza Mahmood.
You deserve better compensation for what's happened to you. Just justice, money, whatever it is. I also think here is contained, the first time I've seen it quite clearly, collusion between Mazza and phone hacking. And Mazza was doing bugging. Mazza was doing much worse things than phone hacking. Yeah. Buying drugs, setting people up. And there is a lawyer, if you could trust them, who's dealing with John Orford, for example, his case, trying to get that overturned. Yeah. This is Siobhan. Siobhan, I always call it Siobhan because that's the Scottish way of pronouncing it, Siobhan. She is dealing with a lot of cases of people, and quite traumatised people, awful trauma. We've had a terrible time in Mazza's hand. Yeah. Because this fits in that area, I don't think she deals with phone hacking. I certainly think that element of the case, she may be worth talking to you. She's a great woman. She's fought against a lot of police injustice. Have you ever met her? She does, like, she's on the list of, because she's pushed the Mazza thing, basically. And because it shows live, you know, a different form of hacking, and shows Conrad Brown. If you've got witness statements to that effect, I think she's been dealing with it because there's a couple of people who fell out with Mazza. I wonder if Zorba was one of them. I mean, he was the other guy, Kemmer. And a lot of people, Mazza had 2 police cases, investigations, Canopus 1 and 2, around about this time, dropped by the senior police officers because they were covering up. Yeah. Canopus 1 and 2. And I've got the statements, exactly what he'd use. He'd buy drugs, he'd fit them up, he'd doctor the phone conversations, he'd get selected bits of video, and then wipe the rest, and then get the police would take them.
That's what they've done.
It's a quasi-prosecution.
They put a compilation in.
So there's almost a compensation from the police. From Essex Police. Yeah. Why on earth did they act on a third party using illegal interception?
And it's funny that DS Werrett never done a witness statement. He's the only one that never done a witness.
But you've got the emails, you've got the disclosure. I think that's pretty significant because therefore they wrongfully arrested you.
So telephone hacking. This is criminal, and what I notice is that all the victims are put in a compensation scheme, which is civil. They're listening to voicemail messages. Where was I going? I was going somewhere with this date here.
Well, you were talking in reference that basically, was it the 10 years later that he come? That was the original point, 10 years. And then the date changed. I think it was 4 days.
That's right, that's where I was going. Right, so after I signed this for Mallet, I basically can't get hold of him for ages, and I'm getting palmed off with the people that are under him, and can you look through this, and can you find anything that relates to that, and all the rest of it. It was rubbish, bundles of nothingness to go through. They knew there was going to be nothing there for me to find, right? But that to make it look like, you know, we've gathered all this, can you have a look through it, and I'm looking at it thinking, where's all the paperwork from 2002? This would give me a little bit more insight. So anyway, we move on from here now, and we get to 29th of January 2013. Now this bit here I've taken my address out. Doesn't matter because certain people have posted it up online anyway, not saying any names at the minute. Lan Puddick. I, Brian Harvey of Lan Puddick, will inform you, confirm that in relation to the matter of mobile telephone voicemail interception litigation, a civil matter now, in a compensation scheme, I have been contacted by the respondent, the Commissioner of Police for the Metropolis, which is why I'm screaming outside Scotland Yard, get the Commissioner out here. Because, and at the time, this would have been Bernard Hogan Howe. So this is, you know, looking like I've had some sort of a conversation. Yeah, I agree, I've been contacted. I haven't. You know, I've never had such a conversation with you, mate.
Verify it.
Right. So, Commissioner of the Police for the Metropolis, in connection with Operation Wheating as a potential victim of mobile telephone voicemail interception. Right, now, and this is to, I authorise the disclosure of the documents set out in paragraph 3 of the order of Honourable Mr Justice Voss. I would put, well, he's not honourable, put it that way, I'll just leave it at that. Dated 27th of February 2012 to Mallet Solicitors, right? The order was dated 27th of February 2012. Right, so why are you coming at me 29th of January 2013? And I gave you the authorisation in 24th of April 2012. So what's took you so long? Why are you keeping out of my way? What are you doing? What are you doctoring? What's the matter? So
further planning is needed. Maybe.
He was planning. He was planning in collusion, I believe, with Scotland Yard, because it's Scotland Yard, Operation Wheating, that send this stuff to Richard Mallet. Right, to give to me. And also the terms have changed. We've gone from criminal telephone hacking to mobile telephone voicemail interception litigation, which is what they call hacking, the listening to of voicemail messages, which has been put in a compensation scheme, which is now civil, not criminal.
Semantical game.
So something's going wrong here now, right? So someone must have had a word with Mallet over Christmas, I reckon. No, you can't do that, Mallet. What you're going to have to do is not send Brian all the paperwork from 2002, because Robert Kellaway's police witness statement's going to be in now. Now, and Comrade Brown, who was doing the audio recordings, more recordings basically, was acting as his partner, doing all the covert recordings. But Kellaway actually records me himself as well. Now, Comrade Brown's interesting because, I mean, here's the police witness statement, first of all. Robert Kellaway. All right, now, he does this police witness statement on the 15th day of August 2002. So he's had a bit of time to get his story together. Now, within this police witness statement, you will see the name Comrade Brown.
There it is, right at the top,
Yeah, Comrade Brown. And you will also see my dead friend's name, Rhys Morris. Right. Okay. He was on this, but he can't speak for himself now because he's dead. Right? Don't tell me something ain't going on. So anyway, I've got his police witness statement, and the way that I got this statement, basically, I'll just go back to... I get this statement ringing Mallet's solicitors, right? Now, I signed the authorisation for Mallet's on the 24th of April 2012. I now ring Mallet's. This has now been going on all the way up until the 17th of September 2013.
Right, so over a year, several months.
Right. And I've had enough of it now. I ring Mallet's. Mallet's not in the office, and I get this guy, Andrew Ferrugia, right? Now, apparently, he's the apprentice there. Right, that's what I'm saying. No, sorry, Andrew. I didn't mean that. I wasn't putting... You know, sometimes you haven't got the words there to say things like that. And it's like, you know, if you get someone in the studio, they start off as a T-boy, don't they? I'm not putting this guy down whatsoever.
No.
Because this guy has ended up doing me the biggest favour ever.
Yes.
Right, but
he paid the price for it.
Well, it sounded like he paid the price for it from the telephone call that I got from him the next day. You know, he sounded like he was in fear for his life and saying that we was all going to get set up, and him, and he fucked up, basically, sending me Kellaway's statement. And that's Mallet's fault for not being in the office anyway, when I call you. You know, and running away from me for a year and a bit. So
And not being honest in the first place.
and not being honest in the first place, and not put him through a defamation of character or defamation claim back when it happened,
Sure.
and running away from me and coming back to fill your pockets again in 2012.
Yep.
Right?
That's how it's looking.
And working for the News of the World at the same time as you're working for me, and I'll get to that. So I ring up and Andrew picks up the phone. And basically, I say to him, look, can you do me a favour? Because I remembered Robert Kellaway's name. I was never going to forget that. And I said, can you do me a favour, Andrew, and look in the box. I was playing it a bit sneaky, because Malik weren't now. I said, can you just look in the box and have a look down Robert Kellaway's police witness statement? Because no one's even confirmed that they had it there yet, right? Because I couldn't get hold of no one. And can you tell me the guy who does the covert audio recordings for it? That's how I put it. And I think I'd done it, I spoke to him, and I'd done it over email as well, right? And I think he came back to me, I don't think it was the same day or the next day, I think it might have been over a course of a weekend, I can't be sure, but it wasn't long. And he come back to me, and he goes, I think I've found those documents that you were looking for, there's quite a few here in the box, so it will take me a while to go through them. Anyway, I do eventually get a phone call from him, in which he says to me, yeah, I'm just looking down Kellaway's statement now. I said, yeah, who's the guy again who's doing the recordings for him? I said, he's got a funny name, I can't remember it, it's on the tip of my tongue. And he goes, was it Conrad? I said, that's it, Conrad Brown. Do me a favour, send me that police witness statement. And he sends it. Only doing his job, poor sod.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, that's an innocent enough
Yeah.
thing to ask. It's a normal request.
Well, it's my paperwork.
Sure, so you're
You know?
entitled to it.
Yeah, I'm entitled to it.
Yeah.
Right, so he sends it to me, but the date he sends it to me is on the 17th of September. Right, so I get it. This is where I forwarded to people and stuff, right? Here it is, yeah. Robert Kellaway's police witness statement, right, in PDF format. Now, some people are now going to be interested in, you know, people have asked me, how does your phone hacking and everything that you're saying intertwine into this Andrew Ashworth Operation Fernbridge witness who's talking about paedophiles and all the rest of it? Well, the link there is Mr. Bill Maloney at Pie and Mash Films. Because on the day that I get Robert Kellaway's police witness statement from Andrew Faruga at Malik's on the 17th of September, I copy Bill Maloney in on it because I've already met him by this point.
Right.
And offered to help him filming his interviews.
Right.
And I copy Bill in on this because I can't believe I've got it. And I go, Bill, look at this. Like, look, I can't believe it. Look, I told you, didn't I? I told you what I was saying was true. And
What did he say? Did he get back to you?
he, you know what? In all the time I was doing bits with Bill, he never went to me, how's the phone acting going, Brian? You know what I mean? As anyone normally would. Nothing. It was all about him, Medhamsley Heroes, Pie Mash Films.
But I thought he's there to help victims.
Well, that's what
Did he
I
not
thought.
see that you're being victimised here?
Well, I made it clear enough to him, do you know what I mean? But he just wasn't bothered. He was more bothered about him.
Right.
You know what I mean? It was all about Bill Maloney. Anyone that's ever met Bill Maloney and that, if anyone that's out there has met him, if you have, you'll know clearly that it's all about Bill all the time. And if you've got a point or there's something that you want to say, my sister's dead, my brother's dead, this one's dead, that one's... I even had to say to Bill, bloody hell, how comes they're all dying, Bill? Like, I had so many people die one year.
Yeah. It's almost like he's trying to just stall you and get you off that and then, you know, emotionally stop you doing what you're doing. Because this is more important.
And I believe this is because Bill Maloney was going to walk me into a trap.
What you should do, look at the camera and just say that let's just say that Bill said that we should keep a diary.
Yeah.
That's all. And what you know what I mean? Because the reason I think you should keep a diary would be because of the sensitivity and the horror of the fucking subject.
Okay.
Right?
In what way?
And I'll confirm this to you in a bit as to why.
We're moving into that.
This guy's going to walk me into a trap, cut a long story short, to ruin my credibility, so that no one would actually listen to this evidence that I've got here concerning Robert Kellaway, who phone tapped me along with Conrad Brown and also does know about phone hacking, right? He does know about it because his own police witness statement confirms that, right? And I'll take you back to his police witness statement, and I'll just quote one of the lines from the last page of his own police witness statement, where it says, and he's talking about me here, I have a micro cassette with recordings of most of those conversations, telephone conversations that is. Either Kamal or I actually recorded them. I shall transcribe the calls.
Illegal activity, I would say there, Brian.
Yep, so would I. So would I. Now, what I need to do is show you something else. So, like I said, Robert Kellaway is bylined on the Millie Dowler story. Okay? Clearly you can see it there. Mm-hmm. Now, in the hacking inquiry in 2011, no, sorry, 2013 I think it was. I think I've got that wrong. It was 2013. He was going to give evidence to the hacking inquiry, Robert Kellaway, right, mm-hmm. with regards to Millie Dowler. Mm-hmm. Now, if I go to that, which is... just getting to it. Okay, here it is here. So, here we've got Peter Jukes now. Now, Peter Jukes works alongside Hacktoff and was given the job of live tweeting the whole trial at the Old Bailey, right? Now, this date, when Robert Kellaway is going to give evidence to the Old Bailey, mm-hmm. is the 6th of November 2013, right?
Right, okay.
This is the date that Robert Kellaway is going to go to the Old Bailey, give evidence on what he knows about phone hacking.
Right.
Right. Bearing in mind, I've got his police witness statement, September 17th, just, a couple of months before.
Right.
All right, so before that, November, you got October, September.
Mm.
September 17th, the apprentice at Mallett's, Andrew Ferrugia, sends me Kellaway's statement, where he says, like I just showed you, I have a microcassette of most of those recordings. Either Kamal or I recorded them, right? That's without all the others that Conrad Brown was doing from as well, who's Mazza Mahmood's partner, but we'll go there in a minute. Right, so no wonder the shit hit the fan when I get sent Kellaway's statement on the 17th of September.
Because really, now this shouldn't be happening. He should be going straight to piss in jail.
Yes, he should. But they've already clearly decided the way that they was going to play it, and Kellaway was always going to say, I know nothing about anything, and even come up with a snide reason as for why his name's bylined on Millie Dowler's story, who's hacked the same month as me, the same year. You got me?
Yeah.
Right, so this is what Robert Kellaway says to the inquiry. He's asked by this Edis guy, back to live tweeting with Robert Kellaway, and this is Peter Jukes that's live tweeting this. Back to live tweeting with Robert Kellaway, former News of the World reporter, hacking trial. Edis shows Kellaway the Millie Dowler article from '02. Did you write it? Kellaway, I don't know. First time I saw this was in 2011. Edis, do you remember ever working on the Millie Dowler story? Kellaway, I think I was assigned. Judge asked him to speak up. Edis, do you remember ever working on the story when she was missing in '02? Kellaway, no.
So he's I think I was assigned.
Yeah.
No,
definitely not. No, that's a no. Right? So Edis goes on to ask him, how does a story bear your name that you didn't work on? Kellaway, could have been a production error.
Yeah, that sounds really feasible.
Could have been a production error.
Yeah.
Kellaway, now he's going to blind you with science. A key performance indicator is a number of bylines. A news desk might append your name to a byline to keep your byline count up
By robbing somebody else?
by robbing someone else. Right?
Then. Yeah, okay.
Where's the bloke who's been robbed then?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah? So that's his official answer to his name being on Millie Dowler's byline, where he says he knows nothing about hacking, and I can confirm that one for you. Live tweeted by Peter Dukes, who works alongside Hacked Off. Kellaway confirms he knew nothing of phone hacking or Millie Dowler's voicemails being accessed. 6th of November 2013, 2 months after I've got his police witness statement.
So that...
Now, what's the chances, considering you've now seen his police witness statement and admits recording me the same month as he done Millie Dowler, what are the chances now of him actually knowing about what happened to Millie Dowler?
I think we know the answer to that, Brian.
I think we do. I think his police witness statement gives that one away. Thank you. All right, so if that wasn't bad enough, Robert Kellaway, the same guy, transcribes his illegal recordings of me, right, and sends them to the police, which is DS Simon Werrett at the time, right, and he sends these to him on the 9th of May 2002, right? Now, my story went in the paper Sunday the 5th of May.
Okay.
So this is 4 days after you've already printed the story, right? And made your mind up. E17 styles coke sting on X, yeah, that story, right? Right. So Robert Kellaway is sending, this is what he says. Dear Mr. Werrett, as requested.
So he'd asked.
Well,
they've asked.
no, the police have requested
Yep.
illegal track. The police should be, if anything, requesting the original tapes so
And
that
then
they can transcribe them themselves.
Yeah, because that is organic, and then there can be no margin of error.
Well, there could be, because a News of the World journalist would never be able to obtain a warrant from the Home Office to phone tap you in the first place.
Yeah, so it's still there obtaining illegal, but at least
Whether he give him the original tapes or not.
But at
it's
least
still
them
illegal.
transcribing it means that they're going, even if it's illegal, they're doing it their own way.
Yeah,
and
you're going to take on my version of events.
Yeah, 'cause it's all about context.
Yeah.
He could set a context by transcribing.
Yeah.
The police doing it themselves could set the real context by transcribing it properly, albeit being illegal.
Yeah.
But the fact that they requested
Because
it from
you've
him.
got the Regulation of Investigatory Powers Act 2000, which was clearly enforced by 2002, which is when this was done, which states that, you know, secret services or police would have to obtain a warrant from the Home Office in order to intercept someone's communications. I think that's changed a little bit now, because Theresa May put things through like the Snoopers Charter, which has basically made it legal for them to do what you want now.
Yeah, exactly.
But
that works in line with us losing our liberties on an hourly basis
does.
anyway.
Yeah,
But
the
anyway,
surveillance and all the rest of it. So Robert Kellaway says, Dear Mr. Werrett, as requested, here are the transcripts of the conversations I outlined to you yesterday. So you already knew he'd been recording me, and you've requested it. Right? No wonder DS Werrett done a runner when I followed him on Twitter. Right? When I found him.
Yeah.
Here's the conversations I outlined to you yesterday. I've put them in chronological order, starting with Reece Morris's call to Zorba's mobile telephone. Reece Morris, my friend who's now dead. Then Harvey's call to Zorba, and finally Harvey's discussion with Zorba in the car. Now, the discussion with Zorba in the car, they've tried to say that a lot of, well, they're trying to basically blame all of it publicly on a discussion in the car, which wouldn't be phone hacking. It's wrong still, but it wouldn't be phone hacking, right? But it's not. It's from private telephone conversations and even my home telephone number, which is on the bottom of Mulcair note page 60, which I'll bring up in a minute. And it correlates to this email as well, and I'll show you why. In chronological order. Reece Morris's call to Zorba's mobile telephone, then Harvey's call to Zorba, finally Harvey's discussion with Zorba in the car, which is transcribed in 2 sections. Any commentary on the transcript appears in brackets and was intended for use by my office. That's News International. Right?
So he's, not only is he illegally hacking, but he's passing it around the office.
Yeah.
Now,
Well,
he's
that's because the
unscrupulous.
job was called on by Greg Miskill, who's a news editor,
Right.
who's now made this whole thing a corporate criminal liability.
Sure.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Right, so...
But what I'm saying is that he's not the only one complicit then.
No.
Because as soon as anyone else has touched that and...
They're all
utilising
involved
it-
because I end up going to prison for 56 days over all of this for the breach of a non-molestation order, which is an injunction. I can't go near my own house or see my daughter or do anything, right? You know what it's like when you're splitting up with your missus and that and they want to pull a fast one. Oh, you're not seeing your kid then. Oh, you don't come round your house. And they love being able to call the old bill and do that, won't you, right? That's what was going on,
Right.
basically. And she was having an affair with this geezer 3 years prior, so, you know, no wonder you don't want me coming around there shouting and screaming and going into a rant.
Yes.
Yeah?
Yeah, yeah.
Right. So, transcripts of the conversation between Kamal Zorba and a friend of Brian Harvey's, known to Zorba as Reese Morris, a drug dealer. Right? In 2002, he's a drug dealer. In 2016, he's a hero. What is it? What is it? Right? Kamal called Brian Harvey's mobile telephone at 15:40 hours, 26th of the 4th, 2002, same month as Millie Dowler, right? Reese responded by calling Zorba's mobile at approximately 3:45 hours. Transcript of this call, now this is the interesting part, transcript of this call began at, you know, roughly around 8:30 at night, you know, it's 8:27 hours. On the 2nd of May, so the 2nd of the 5th, 02. Right, now you can, underneath that you can see part of the transcript of telephone conversations being recorded.
Yep.
Right, there. I've got the rest of it. But now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back to, jump forward in time, now to 2013, 29th of the 1st, 2013, around that time, when Richard Mallett, the guy that won my case in 2003, who was covering up Kellaway's files, who didn't want to send it to me, he's now going to forward me the Mulcair notes, Glenn Mulcair, who was doing the mobiles for the News of the World. He's now going to forward me from Scotland Yard via Mallett to me the paperwork information that the Met had with regards to ascertaining telephone hacking, right? And when I get this from Scotland Yard on the 7th of February 2013 to Mallett solicitors to send to me, right, page 58 and page 60.
No 59.
No 59. Let me just jump to page 60 now of the Mulcair notes. And at the top, page 60, for Neville, he was obviously, Neville Fellback, News of the World, was the one who would have been tasking Glenn Mulcair to do my mobile for the News of the World. Glenn Mulcair's doing my mobile phone on the 2nd of the 5th, 02. Same date Kellaway's transcribing his illegal recordings, right? But Scotland Yard decided to redact my mobile phone number from it, just in case I can't remember it, because I've had a bad time of it these past few years, right? So that's Scotland Yard for you, colluding with Mallett, right, and covering everything up. Okay, right, so now when you look on the ones that I get from Glenn Mulcair, because I put all this stuff out there and ended up getting Glenn Mulcair round to my house, right? And he comes round, gives me page 58 and 60, but no page 59. Right? Which, and now the number's all unblanked because I'd already decoded it because my friend had the number and caught them out basically, he knew what they was doing. But the strange thing is Mulcair never comes round with the, with page 59. Now I know what's on page 59 and I'm just going to tell you rather than just bringing it all up because it's going to take a while to find it, but it is on here. On page 59, there will be, I mean, look, there's proof of the phone number straight away. This is the other guy's number, the hitman, or the alleged hitman. And here's my mobile number, what's on that Glenn Mulcair note, yeah?
Okay.
It's from the phone records. Right, so here's Peter Dukes. And this guy has been round my house and confirmed what he saw of mine was real. And I'll just, if I can, because I know you haven't got a very...
Yeah, well, what I'm going to have to say now is that we're going to have to do this again.
Yeah.
Because we've not even touched. But I do like the way that we've done it because we've slowly walked through and it's in a timeline.
Yeah. Well, let's leave you on a bombshell then or something, yeah?
Go for it, mate. But can I just say before we do that, let us know what you think about this interview, guys, because to me, I'm riveted sitting here doing it.
Yeah.
I want to come down. I don't know whether it's possible for me next week or something, but
listen,
I do want to kind of do it that quickly.
Anytime you're free,
I'll
just
go
come back
home,
and do
see
it.
what my plan is. The wife might tell me otherwise, you know, there might be a netball, you know, whatever, something ridiculous that'll turn up. I might have a bathroom to clean, but I'm hoping that hopefully next week, barring, you know, my work commitments, to finish this off.
Yeah.
Because we've not even talked about Bill, John, Andrew Ash, Chris.
Well, that's
Chris
where we should leave it.
Okay.
What we should do is leave it on how I end up being involved in this, right? Which is Andrew Ash. Obviously, I filmed this whole interview, which then ended up going on the front page of the Express. Headline was "Female MP Abused Boy in Cow" by James Fielding, who was there on the day with me, Bill Maloney, Chris Fay and my friend Mick that was helping me film, and Andrew Ash. So what I'll do is I'll leave you...
I mean, in a way, the way we've done it and the fact that we've not got it all out, I don't see that as a negative.
No,
because that's
fine.
a taster for people to then go, okay, right, I've got this part, let me get on the next part next week.
This is where we'll leave it then, Phil, till next week, yeah? Because how I end up involved with Andrew Ash and being pulled into filming an Operation Fernbridge Witness, right? Bill Maloney took me along to do that job, funded by Bill's funder Ian Puddick, who had my computers taken recently, right, for malicious communication when I reported him first. It's ridiculous. But the reason all of that is happening to me, and the reason that I'm there filming Andrew Ash for this front page story, which Bill took me to, funded by Ian Puddick, you have to go back to September 17th, 2003, when I first get Robert Kellaway's police witness statement, right? Because I copy in
the man himself,
Bill at Pie and Mash Films.
Right, yeah.
And we can leave it there and pick it up on the next one, because then we can go straight into Andrew Ash and everything that happened there, and why I wasn't put there to help Andrew. Andrew was put there to discredit not only himself with regards to what he knows about child abuse, but to fill my head with stuff so that I can be discredited.
Knowing the way you are, because you're a moral guy, and if you hear something that's morally wrong, you're going to speak about it.
I'm more likely going to have a rant about it.
With a load of BS, and you're going to jump out, it'll hurt him, it'll hurt you.
Yeah, and then who is going to believe my real phone tapping evidence that I've got?
Nobody.
Once I've gone out there and named names within a child abuse inquiry that turn out to be false.
That's it. In a way, that's perfectly rounded off, I do feel. I could stay here and kind of stay overnight, but the wife's expecting me back. But it is a pleasure for me to take this time out, mate.
Thanks,
Thank
Phil.
you
and
very
thanks
much.
for coming all the way down as well.
Mate, honestly, don't you worry about that. I'm like I say, I'm kind of frothing at the bit now, because I do feel this is probably one of maybe 2 or 3 parts.
Yeah.
Because at the pace that we're doing it, I can't see us doing it in one more, unless we do one long session and then kind of.
And then we can edit that one, But this one could probably go up as one whole thing, I would have thought,
And to me, the way we've done it, I think it's kind of easily digested. You know, you can follow it in real time, because chronologically the way you've put it together. The one thing I will say, Brian, if anyone thinks this man is a nutter, then the white jacket that Brian has, you need to make me a matching one. And it's as simple as that. You're articulate, you're intelligent, the way you've collated all the facts over the years, it's astounding.
Thank you.
You know, you are what a true journalist has done. And in order to root to the truth, because don't forget, you've had to piece all this together. It's not just been, yeah. You know, this has took a lot of thinking.
Yeah.
And to be able to match it up, the dates, the names, and all the rest of it, that shows true intelligence.
I've had to though, Phil, because I've got to protect my life.
Yes.
And I've had to do it in a way where I know I've had a scream and a shout, but listen, that was calculated, right? I knew what I was doing when I smashed that award in the alley. I knew what I was doing. I needed people to look at me whether they thought I was mad or not.
Yeah.
And the truth would eventually come out, but I needed eyes on me first.
Right.
Right, so I knew what I was doing, and also sent a message out to Tom Watkins, the manager, when I smashed that.
And it
award
probably
up.
felt good as well.
Yeah, it did, yeah.
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 You know, the funny thing, we will leave it there, but the funny thing is with that clip, is that another thing is that it looked manic what you were doing. A woman was passing and she looked at you like that.
Yeah.
But you know the beautiful...
But she had a smile on her face, she weren't scared.
No. She was like, well, what's going on here? But the beautiful thing is that you picked up the glass afterwards.
Well, that's the thing. You can be angry and tidy. Right?
And
You can be angry and tidy. You can do it. I did it. You can do it too.
So it's not like you grab the glass and like, I'm going to self-harm because
they'd
he's not
love
doing
me to have done that.
You know?
Look at him, he's a nutcase. Don't believe him. He's got phone tapping evidence. But no.
Oh,
it's
mate.
never going to happen.
Mate. So we will have to pick this up from Andrew Ash going onwards.
Yeah, love to. Yeah,
You know,
love to.
it's a pity we didn't go into it, but I like I say, I'm kind of glad. It's been a pleasure, mate, and I do feel
Likewise.
your decorum and the way you've put it across speaks volumes for you as a character and an individual, and it shows there's more to Brian Harvey than what the media, the lying, deceitful media, would like to portray.
Well, hopefully in time, you know, it's not going to happen in 5 minutes, but hopefully in time people will learn to see that, you know, and you know, I'll just look forward to doing the next one and picking this back up and showing the public what they need to know. They need to know this stuff. They cannot trust the mainstream media. You cannot trust these people, or the police, or the Crown Prosecution Service, or our Prime Ministers for that.
They either make or break.
Yeah.
They make superstars. They can break people just as easy.
They play God with people's careers.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Manipulators.
Yeah.
It's been an absolute pleasure, Brian.
Thank you.
This is Red Pill Phil interviewing not even say X, because that sounds bad. You're a clever, articulate, creative man, but you just happened to be in a boy band several years ago, so let's just leave it like that.
We'll leave it at that, yeah.
I love you all, even the pissing haters. Thank you very much. Till the next time.
Why did you write 40 there for?
45.
Who was he having sex with, Tom?
No, they had sex with him, they got him drugged up and they had sex with him.
What, a few people ragged him? And who were them people? Do it like anyone not
They could go in the room and some other people go into the room, but